Share Shootout brought to you by Lion of Africa Insurance, insuring South Africa's future.
Welcome to Share Shootout here on CNBC Africa, first in business worldwide. I'm Bruce Whitfield. You're watching Share Shootout between Sasha and Gary. Both gave us two of their stock picks before the break. And what we've got from Gary is SABMiller and EOH. EOH has had a fantastic track record, grown really quickly through acquisition. Sasha thinks it's a little bit rich. But SABMiller, however, has got a big liking for it and its products. Then Sasha Naryshkine, Sasol, a big liking for its products and also a liking for the share. But Gary Booysen disagrees. He prefers Interwaste. He's more into the garbage business. So, Gary, you went first last time, which means, Sasha, you get the honor of the last gasp. And I want to see if Sasha falls into a dribbling heap. Not Sasha. If Gary falls into a dribbling heap, you might fall into a dribbling heap too, which is okay. You're allowed to. It's a family show. 30 seconds on Supergroup.
Yeah, the business has been recapitalized twice. Alan Gray, a big shareholder there, having stumped up the necessary cash. I think the business looks cheap. Their biggest revenue contributor is also the one with the biggest margins, the Fleet Solutions business. I think they're relatively ignored by the market simply because of past indiscretions, and it's a business in change. And if you look at logistics globally, it's a bigger growing business as we see more people moving more goods around, That Maersk are building. Can't I get in two more seconds? Gary had.
No.
Okay.
I like Gary. That's the difference. Okay, Gary. Joking, Sasha. Have they put the super back into Supergroup?
I've actually shot it down on the show before, so I'm going to have to shoot it down again. So I'm okay. I'm glad I went with Interwaste. Now, looking at it, we just prefer Imperial. It is a difficult sector at the moment, especially with the increasing petrol prices, etc. I know Supergroup is a good business. It has done very well to turn itself around from the days of R1 and coming all the way back in.
Old enough to remember cheaper.
But here we've got a situation. Sasha, you can have more time now to desperately try and claw your way back. But Supergroup, I'm going to make more money out of Supergroup, theoretically, than I will out of Imperial. Bit more risk.
Well, they haven't paid a dividend since 2007. That normally tells you all you need to know. Yeah. And they've recapitalized the business. There's a whole lot more cash there. I think roughly 7-8% of the business is cash now. So, heading in the right direction after a near-death experience. And in fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but the chief is an ex-Imperial guy.
I think so, yes. Okay. So you would stand by your man on this particular one, but you're being shot down. Gary, you shooting it down? Say I shoot it down.
I shoot it down.
You've been shot down. Oh, sorry, Sasha, on that front. But hey, you managed to squeeze Interwaste through there. You glad you took Interwaste ahead of Supergroup?
50-50.
50-50. All right. Well, then, your final toss of the dice is an interesting one, because I would have thought this was your safest pick so far. You were suggesting earlier that you had to go with something big and frothy in the beginning because you weren't too sure about your last two. But I really like your number 3, Omnia. 30 seconds.
Yeah, Omnia, it's shown great earnings coming through. The reason that I perhaps look at it a bit risky is, we really don't like the resource sector, and it's obviously, feeds into the resource sector and it's explosive business. But even that said, it's got, it deals more in open cast stuff, which hasn't had the mining strikes, etc. But I think a good company that's growing earnings very, very well. And if you look at also their fertilizer business, you've got a huge amount of population growth. There's been good planting this season.
I'm sure, I see this. I stopped him.
Okay. So you didn't listen to that last clever part?
No, Mr. What did you say?
I don't know.
He was too busy counting the seconds. Omnia, I see it as a food play, not an explosive play. Am I naive in that, Sasha?
Yeah, it's half and half. Remember, they've grown their business substantially through quite a big rights issue. Recently, there was to build a plant in Sasolburg as feedstock for both sets of their businesses. The only thing that worries me here is that, remember, we've had sustained higher food prices. So what do farmers do? They go and they splurge. So I'm worried that fertilizer prices may have peaked for the next 18 to 24 months. That's my only big concern.
What about that concern, Gary?
Even if they have peaked, you're talking about the new nitric acid plant down in Sasolburg. Also, that's brought down their cost dramatically. So they have got bigger margins than they used to. So even if fertilizer prices do come down a little bit, I mean, they've got the cost saving there to still run a healthy business.
Okay, he's absolutely determined on this one. You have, Sasha, just to remind you, accepted SABMiller, rejected EOH. It's hard, though, to shoot down Omnia. It's on a not demanding multiple of 13
It's more
times.
demanding than it's ever been. You know, it's trading near its 52-week high.
So is that important in this case?
I think it is, because in a global context, if you look at fertilizer companies, so if you compare them to the bigger ones, and they're not an out-and-out fertilizer company, which is important.
Yeah.
Because if the mining cycle suddenly starts to turn sour, there's kind of
if the mining cycle suddenly starts to turn sour, have we not shut the barn door of the horse's bolt?
Well, no, I mean,
isn't the mining cycle as bad as it's going to be?
Maybe it's going to be iffy for the next 18 to 24 months, and that's my only concern with this one, is it might go sideways.
I'll defend him a little bit. I mean, a lot of it, you know, there's a lot of demand that's going to come through for the coal from the Kusile and Medupi power stations. So
when they get built.
When they get built. So you know, there is potentially problems. But yeah, again, like Sasha says, it's diversified. There's two parts of the business, so I think it is safe.
It's safe, but you're shooting it down.
For the purposes of this game, yes, I'm shooting it down.
Okay, all right. Oh boy. Now I come to the part where I've got to choose a winner. My producer shouted me at the end of every week. And fortunately, most of you think I'm a genius and I choose great winners. So I've got to choose between Sasha's Sasol, Interwaste and Supergroup and the arguments that he put forward for those three. I've also got to try and not judge him on his dress sense. And then Gary Booysen from Vunani Private Clients, SABMiller, EOH and Omnia. Three great businesses. Are any of them great shares, however? All of them trading on quite demanding multiples. I'm thinking I'm going to be a bit more adventurous. Not only am I not going to prejudice him on his appalling dress sense, the fact that he comes from Russia and went to the wrong school in a very nice town, but I think our winner, because I really want to prejudice him and make him sweat next week, should be Sasha, which means Gary Booysen. He's going to be furious. But hey, you can't touch me with your oh, they're hot. Anyway, yeah, so it's always a little bit hotter when you kick off somebody who's fought hard. We're hosting another stock picking frenzy next Tuesday, the most vicious stock picking show on TV, where the rules are kind of movable, the goalposts certainly immovable. It's like running a government department. Right here on CNBC Africa. Don't forget to tweet me your share shootout suggestions and your thoughts at Bruce Business. Well done, comrade. Congratulations. I want to see what the Socialist Republic of Sasha delivers next week. Until next time, we'll continue to pick out a winner and shoot out the rest. Bye-bye.